After Ganon was destroyed, Impa told Link a sleeping spell was cast on Princess Zelda. She'll awake only with the power of the third Triforce sealed in a palace in Hyrule. To break the seal, crystals must be placed in statues in 6 well-guarded palaces. Link set out on his most adventuresome quest yet. Alright, hello everyone, this is Tails409, and welcome to Let's Play Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. So, this is the other Zelda game whose videos I destroyed due to the big Kappa scare, and well, now I'm going to do it again. However, as you saw, I had another file there that seemed to have nothing going on. I attempted this before, but things were going so bad that I was just getting very upset, and I didn't want to go through that, so I took some time, and I'm doing it over again. So first off, I'm going to go into this cave to get something. Now, this is the Zelda game that actually really is the only one that can be constituted as an RPG, because it's the only one that actually has these little RPG elements that aren't in any of the other games that people like to call an RPG franchise. When people say Zelda's an RPG, point them to this. They may say they hate it, however, then you don't think Zelda's an RPG, because you don't like this game. This was back in the days where the second installment of, like, every series had to be different. The NES loved doing that. With games like Mario 2, Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, this game, Castlevania 2, and Final Fantasy 2 with its very awkward mechanics. It's weird, I don't know why there was that idea that sequels always had to be different, but whatever. I don't think this is a bad game, but it's definitely a hard one to play. It's very cruel and punishing. One such example is that if you get a game over, it doesn't matter where you are, you go back to the first screen, unless it's the final dungeon, for reasons I'll go into later. Despite that, this game did at least have one innovation that stuck with the franchise. The magic system. This is the first game to give you a magic meter. What you use it for is a little different than other games, but it's still the first one. So, another thing that makes this more like an RPG, this game has more towns than any other installment in the series. Oh, and it's also got spells. We're about to get one right now. Talk with my father before you leave whole town. People talk too slowly in this. It's annoying. So I don't even want to show you what she says. She mentions that there's an old man in each town, and you must find him to get a spell, basically. Hi. In Parappa Desert, use this magic to survive. So we get our first spell, the shield spell. The fact that this game has spells makes it more inclined to an RPG, which generally has magic spells to use to help you get through the game. It's been around for as long as RPGs existed. This includes tabletop. It all started with Dungeons and Dragons. I don't do tabletop RPGs, but I at least know that was the true originator of RPGs as we know it. Another thing about this game that makes more RPG-like are the encounters. Not exactly random, but they do show up on the overworld and do lead you to a separate battle screen. Right now, I am heading to the first dungeon. Well, almost. As you can see, these caves are dark, and we can't see any of the foes inside them. We need an item for that, but we can't get it until going to the first dungeon, which means, yeah, you have to go through that one cave, which at least has one enemy. Before going to the dungeon, though, we're going to pick up one more item. But first we have to pass this cavern of deadly bubbles, which for some reason, bubbles hurt you. Worse than that, though, are these pits of water. Link can't swim in this game. If you fall in the water, that's death. At least this game gives you 3 lives before game over, but still, that's pretty mean. Anyways, ow. Let's go and beat up this guy before picking up this heart container. Another difference from other Zelda games, bosses don't drop heart containers. There's only 4 heart containers scattered throughout the overworld. That's all you get. Other than that, the only way to keep yourself from dying so fast is to level up your life. My gosh, these bubbles are in the worst spots now. It's almost like they have a much smarter AI than they once have. I'm usually able to just rush through this part. Oh, that's sad. Now, I only have 2 lives already. Go away. Ugh. I'm starting to really hate the bubbles in this game. They're usually not this insufferable, though. Whatever. Let's just go to the first dungeon. I don't want to get too stressed again, otherwise this playthrough's gonna go terribly. Anyways, here's the first dungeon in the game, Parappa Palace. And these dungeons, unlike the first game, stick to a side-scroller aspect. But they can still have branching paths. And there's also no maps in these dungeons, so you either have to draw your own maps or just memorize the layout, which I don't think is generally that difficult. Come on over here, thank you. I want your experience. Now, of course, there was a disc system version of this in Japan, and that original version did something a little different with the experience system. The thresholds were roughly the same. However, when you level up, you were able to decide which of your 3 stats you wanted to level up. You could pick any one of them. So you could just keep picking the same one over and over again. Like, you could just go to full attack almost immediately. The thing is, there is a catch. Once you get a game over, or you just shut off the game, your stats will go down to the one that has the lowest level. So if you have like 5 in life, 4 in sword, but only 2 in magic, all of your stats will be dropped to 2. So that uses a risk versus reward system. So you gotta be careful with how you actually go through with it, and it should be based entirely on how well you can play the game. So if you're not very good, you'd want to try and keep everything equal. These are the bubbles. They now sap magic. You can eventually kill them, but they take a lot of hits, and with those guys constantly attacking, it wasn't a very good idea. I hate those guys, because they're enemies that can steal your experience. Yes, there are some enemies in this game that can take away your experience, which is really annoying, but they usually die very quickly at the very least. Ow! My gosh. You want me to try and kill this guy? Well, let's see if he ever comes to me. Takes a lot of hits, I'm warning ya. This won't be fun to look at. But you can kill them, and I will prove it. This is my revenge for your kind that disabled my swords when I was but a wee lad. I'm not even counting how many hits this takes. Even with a fully powered up sword, this can still take a bit of time. So, just imagine how fun this is. I'm only going to demonstrate this one time, because quite frankly, this takes way too long. This is boring. Why do they need to have so many hit points? Oh, there we go. See? They do eventually die, but it's just really annoying, and until you get stronger and get some new attacks, not really worth your time. Wait a minute, that's another innovation this game does that other games would soon have. The ability to actually learn new sword attacks that you can use in the game. That really wouldn't come up again until the Minish Cap, actually, but still, it's something that this game did first, so that's pretty cool, honestly. You can get a downward thrust and an upward thrust. The downward thrust is especially useful. I love using it. Ooh. Alright, it's fine. We're about to get a level up in life. See? Level up in life. Alright, now that we got these keys, it's time to do a little backtracking to get the dungeon item. Now, one of the fears I know people used to have with this game is if you complete the palace without getting the item. Because when you leave the palace, you'll probably notice that it tends to turn into a rock. This leads to some people worrying that if you fail to get the item before actually finishing the dungeon, you won't be able to get it ever again. Now, I'll tell you through experience, that's wrong. You can still get the item if you leave the dungeon after beating the boss. It won't turn to a rock until you've done everything in the dungeon. I should know. I've done that in this dungeon the first time I ever played this game on the Game Boy Advance as a little kid. So naive as to how difficult this game would be. I was not ready for what this game threw at me. To be fair, this game doesn't hold any punches. It's not even going that easy at you from the very start, let's be honest. 'Cause even this dungeon can have some pretty difficult enemies. And areas such as this, where the ground keeps breaking, but then tempts you with a points bag, which isn't that hard to get actually, but still. Let's kill these guys for profit. Sometimes enemies can drop points bags. A weak enemy will drop points bags with 50 points, but stronger enemies such as this will give you 200 experience if they drop one, which is a very nice way to level up early on. Oh my... Just die. Thank you. Ooh! I can get a sword upgrade before fighting this Iron Knuckle, which has a shield to block your attacks. However, an easy way to kill them is jump stabs like this. See? It makes short work out of them. And here we get the candle, so now we'll actually be able to see in the caves. And there will be plenty of caves, so you definitely want this. Otherwise, you have to memorize almost everything in the caves. Generally, an enemy still has an outlined silhouette that you could just barely see if you look carefully enough, but that's annoying. I should know. I've dealt with it one too many times in randomizers. Look at this, I'm almost dead. Oh gosh, and I'm probably going to die. Okay, there. There is a fairy in this dungeon. If I'm careful, I'll be able to get it. But this actually got me killed last time, this one slime. Now I'm actually scared to fight him. Don't jump! Thank you, I'll take that. Let's go and get a fairy. Why do I keep getting hurt so many times now in this dungeon? I think I've actually gotten worse at this game, despite the fact I've played this along with its randomizer numerous times, so I don't know why I'm just like so rusty. Anyways, let's kill this guy with jump stabs. I've seen a lot of people say you should do like crouch stabs like that, but honestly, it's so much easier to just do jump stabs. So much easier. Because it generally gets by the shield every single time because your sword's always too high for the shield to actually hit. Oh, and strong enemies like this cannot be hurt with your sword beam, so they're not nearly as useful as they were in the original game. Alright, we're about to level up before the boss. Because we got another Iron Knuckle to fight. As long as he doesn't drop magic. That would be kind of annoying. There we go. What do we level up? Magic. Alright, cool. Just in time to fight a boss. Cast the shield spell before fighting, because our first boss is Horsehead, who comes at you with a mace. And that's about it. In order to hurt him, you need to hit his head, although sometimes the hitbox is a little finicky. If you keep getting successive hits on him, you can eventually push him off of the screen, which you don't want to do that, because then you actually can't hurt him until he walks back in, and as you can see, he's kinda slow. Oh, also, you can see a boss's health bar on the left of the screen during the fight. I kind of like that. I just find it kind of fun to just see how much health a boss has. I don't know why, I just think it's fun. Don't judge me. Actually, you can judge me if you want. As long as you're fair and impartial about it. Don't say something mean that doesn't make any sense. Okay? Let's keep this nice. A nice place. I want the environment to be good. I want you guys to feel welcomed. And I hope I'm doing that. Because I only do this stuff for the fun of it. Even my animations is really just for fun, above all things. Not really to get noticed, but for me to enjoy it and for others to enjoy it. And I know a lot of people enjoy them. Which makes me happy that I can make something people enjoy. We need something fun to enjoy in our lives. It's what gets us through. Okay, now before going to the next town, we're going to go into this cave to get a trophy, because with most of the other spells in this game, you need to complete some kind of a quest in order to get the spells. This will allow us to get the next spell in the game. You don't have to talk to the person who gives the quest to do the quest. So it's usually just faster to go right into the quest. Here's a trophy. There's a lady who lost her trophy in the next town we're going to, and if we show her this, she will allow us to go get a spell. Now the funny thing is, these quest items do not appear in any menu, so you just gotta remember you got it at all. Oh, it's time for me to mention something else about these towns. Their names are of interest. The first town we were in was called Hyrule, and I'll just demonstrate this. This is the town of Rudo. Do these names sound familiar? Because a lot of these town names were used for the important characters in Ocarina of Time. Definitely as a reference. Not that I think everyone would have picked up on it, but it's still very cool.
You saved the trophy! Come see my uncle.
My voice acting is poor because the text is too slow to put enough care into it. Anyways, we're gonna get another spell. And unlike the shield spell, which is helpful, this spell is mandatory. Hi.
With this, you can jump very high.
The jump spell. The jump spell allows us to jump higher up. And it's going to be necessary to get any farther in the game, because there are certain jumps that can't be made without this spell. So, this ensures that one way or another, you will learn of the existence of spells in this game. You get the first spell for free in the town of Hyrule, and you're told about the spells there. And you need this spell just to progress any farther in the game, so yeah. The game makes sure you'll know about the spells. So now let's go through this cave, which is actually a multi-room cave, and it has Garayas, who can throw a lot of boomerangs. So sometimes you'll have to do a lot of multitasking with your shield blocks, and it can be pretty difficult at times. There we go. I don't need that. Ow. Ow, I say. Look, it's another Garaya. Ow. What the? Stop hurting me. Sometimes he throws the boomerangs lower than other times. It's kind of funny. I'm not too concerned though. We're actually getting close to a fairy spot. Oh, and then there's this bat that turns into a demon who can shoot fire at you. Instead of giving me 10 experience, he gave me a potion, which is fine because I need the jump spell to actually get up here. Without the jump spell, you can't progress any farther. And with that, we are now in the southwest quadrant of Hyrule. Things are going well, but there is a lot to do in this section of the world. I'll start covering that on the next video, though. It's about time to stop. Until then, though, this has been TailsFan109, and have a nice day.